Jacob Zuma, the president of South Africa, has been described as both a tyrant and a saviour. But his supporters and detractors can together agree on one thing: he is a political survivor. Since the end of apartheid, the world has viewed South Africa, a country trying to move on from a turbulent and violent past, as a shining example of successful political transition. Leading that process following his presidential election in 1994 was Nelson Mandela and his party, the ANC, the African National Congress. More than 20 years later, the ANC is still in power after winning its fifth consecutive election, with the party's current leader, Jacob Zuma, becoming president for a second term. 3 years on from that election, South Africa is now facing a governance crisis, while its economy is in technical recession. At the centre of the turmoil is President Zuma, whose credibility, following numerous controversies, is at a career low. Zuma, who at 75 is one of the world's oldest democratically elected leaders, caused the greatest damage to his reputation in early 2016. That year, South Africa's highest court ruled that he'd breached the constitution by refusing to repay state funds that were used to upgrade his private residence. These upgrades included an animal enclosure, an amphitheatre, a swimming pool, a visitor centre, and a chicken run. Following widespread criticism, he eventually apologised and repaid the $600,000. But those concessions didn't prevent either mass protests on the streets of Johannesburg and Cape Town or Parliament from holding a vote of no confidence against him. This was one of several attempts by his opponents to oust him, and like those previous efforts, Zuma has managed to remain in power. Requests for a silent vote have been denied amid reports that Zuma has threatened ANC members with disciplinary action if they failed to vote for him. But Zuma's problems haven't stopped there. He is currently facing 783 corruption charges that include money laundering and racketeering, which stem from a controversial $5 billion arms deal in 1999. He was also accused of raping a family friend in 2005, but was acquitted of the charges a year later. While past scandals have harmed Zuma and the ANC's reputation, it's the president's recent activities which have caused South Africa real damage. Several international ratings agencies downgraded South Africa to junk status after Zuma sacked his finance minister, Pravin Gordhan. This resulted in a rise in food prices and the economy stagnating, as South Africans were unwilling to spend money due to the increased cost of borrowing. Zuma has yet to give an official reason as to why Gordhan was fired, but his allies argue that their relationship had irrevocably broken down, with some going as far to say that Gordhan was supporting policies that would favour white people. Gordhan, who was seen by many as someone who was beyond Zuma and his allies' influence, had a different view. He said that South Africa was in danger of becoming a kleptocratic state, while his deputy, who was also sacked, claimed that state funds were being stolen to benefit a small elite. So who are the small elite? Well, many would argue it centres on the Guptas, one of the wealthiest families in South Africa. The Guptas' influence is considerable. Not only are they in business with Zuma's son, but they also have their own 24-hour news channel, African News Network 7, that their critics argue they use to set the news agenda for their own personal gain and give favourable coverage for President Zuma. Scrutiny in the Gupta's dealings resulted in an independent report being commissioned last year, which alleged that the family had offered bribes to government officials, influenced cabinet appointments, and gained massive government contracts. Both Zuma and the Guptas deny any wrongdoing, but that didn't prevent in early 2016 the four biggest banks in South Africa closing the Guptas' accounts. As the allegations mount up, Zuma is now facing criticism from within his own party. The ANC has ordered an investigation into what's been called by its own members as the corporate capture of government. And it's not just verbal attacks that Zuma has had to face. In 2014, he was hospitalised after reportedly being poisoned. Proud polygamist Zuma accused one of his 4 wives of taking part in the plot and said there had been 3 further attempts by his enemies to poison him. But amid the turmoil, Zuma remains defiant. He has allayed ANC fears by confirming that he will step down as the ANC president in December at the party conference, but he will still remain president of South Africa. Many argue that he will continue to manipulate the economy for his personal benefit, and as he does so, the rand continues to fluctuate, causing further uncertainty. It's likely that another credit rating agency, Moody's, will also downgrade South Africa to junk status, and when that happens, the country will be removed from the World Bond Index, which could have serious implications for the economy. Unemployment is already at a 14-year high, and amongst the youth, it's 50%. As protests continue to erupt in the nation's cities, some analysts believe with Mr. Zuma coming under pressure on various fronts, it's only a matter of time before he is forced to step down. However, others say it is unwise to write off the man whose Zulu name, Jedli Ilikisa, means one who smiles while grinding his enemies.